What is at least one key job that you carry out in real life that's related to property surveying?
Okay, at our company we offer a home insurance assessment, which is overall cost of your house for a rebuild. This is required by banks as such. So firstly, a client will obviously get told by the bank that they need an insurance assessment completed. So the client will come to us, we will give them a quote, and if they accept that fee proposal from the quote, we will go out to their house and do a site assessment, which will include full site visit, measuring heights of studs and taking heaps of photos of different aspects of the house, any main features, more expensive features like if they've got security systems, flash front doors, all those sort of items. And then once we've done all that, we'll come back to the office and then get the plans off either Auckland Council or wherever the home insurance assessment is, or sometimes the client has their drawings, which is real handy. So then we'll come back, do a full measure on those drawings, and then full rate the whole lot, and then we'll get an overall price of that house to rebuild from start to finish, and then send that back to the client, and that's going to be their overall cost of rebuild.
Okay.
There are a lot of challenges that the construction managers will face in their daily life. The main three are the rising cost, time, and the quality. Talking about the rising cost, the managers pay the labor to the builders by the time. The builders spend more time on traveling, gathering the materials, or just waiting idle. So the manager should have a good work preparation and detailed construction planning, and the time many factors will affect the time. Sometimes the weather delay the progress. The builder also needs to wait for the government to restrict and the delivery of material supplies and the equipment also need time. So the managers should have a good plan to save their time. To solve this problem, the manager can have a graphic interactive roof cut planning and schedule. They also can create and the management of work packages, and they can also earn some value management and the definition of materials requirements for work packages.
Once you price the cost of the project, how do you make sure it doesn't exceed? Is there a way to prevent it from exceeding, or?
No, there isn't, because what you have is it's a two-stage thing. So we get involved with a job and we price the job. Okay, say the job's going to take 18 months to build. So what we do is we have a project team that is assembled to do the job. Okay? So they basically there's a handover point where the procurement team hands it over to the project team. And the project team can cut and dice it and do whatever they like, but it's their problem from there on in. So, and you might have only been involved with a job for 3 weeks when you're pricing it, and they go and build it for 18 months. So you've had 3 weeks to understand the thing and price the thing up, and they've got 18 months to build it. So one of the things that does get frustrating is when they come trotting back to you a year later and say, I've gone out and got pricing for da-di-da-di-da, but you only allowed this, and now the pricing is what you allowed plus some more, But hey, it's no, if you'd just been onto the case and just get the thing lit up straight away. So obviously the aim is that you try and build it for less than you've actually allowed. That's the whole idea of it, because that's enhancing your margin. So, but when a job is 18 months long or 12 months long, it's quite a long period, and the people on the job make decisions which are different to the decisions you made when you were pricing it. And well, there's nothing you do about that.
One key role as a quantity surveyor is the financial management. One main challenge of a quantity surveyor is the ability to keep within the budget of the project. The solution to this is by negotiating with the clients.
We offer a rebuild promotion to homeowners. We would come out to someone's home, we'd be courteous in what we do, we come out and show an ID. We do a full site survey of someone's home. We do full measurement, measuring the retaining walls, measuring the external driveway, patios, partitioning, kitchen, bathroom, and then we collate it all together and give them a rebuild report based on something you sell to the insurance company. So it's certified by the Insurance Council of New Zealand. Voice, you know, got a bit, show me how you put the price up. If he says, oh no, I haven't got that, I said, well, you're not going to get paid that until you show me the information. I can't certify anything. I'm not putting my thing that into jeopardy of his cash flow. I've got to be comfortable that the variation you're still putting on me is acceptable. You might say, that's not fair, you can't do that. Well, I said, well, according to the contract, you have to give me a variation, which I give you a certain variation with all backup information. It has to be within a certain time frame. So you might find, and that's the question, that maybe contractors might be a bit forceful on you to prove things, but you have to say, no, stand still, I'm not going to accept that, that's not correct. But it can be a bit confrontational, but as long as you're confident in what you're saying and you say, well, if I know I'm right, then I don't believe it's going to be. People will try and pull wool over your eyes, like contractors will think, well, what you've done is right. That can be quite a challenge. You know,
Yeah, so my name is Clark and I'm doing the first year of construction, and my interest will be construction management. And lucky enough, I got hold of the director of a network construction company, and I had a lovely conversation interview with the guy Matt. And in the conversation, I asked him the question like, what would be the key challenges they faced in their daily basis? And one of the key challenges he said is to, as accurately as they can, to predict what will be the project task coming out of time, and how they're going to set up the timeline align accordingly. And the reason why it is so hard, because there are so many variables. That's what he mentioned, such as building authority, consent, processing procedure, and the change of the weather. They are all the things can change the time and can change the project task. And for that reason, they adopted a software, an online software, and all the crews involved in that project task, they are able to access that software either through cell phone or computer, and they're trying to keep everything up to date every day. So by doing that, the whole crew is informed of what is going on. But definitely the delays is very realistic, and that's what he said. If somebody said there is no delay, and Matt mentioned that obviously that's a lie, because always a delay. And I asked the question, how are you going to solve that issue? And he said, because their company is quite big one, and one of the key strategies they utilize to deal with the delay is to increase the workforce. It means they're going to take some other guys from one side to add it to the other side. By doing that, they still can try their best to manage to catch up with the time. And anyway, the whole conversation is lasted around 40 minutes, but I don't think I have 40 minutes to do the interview now. I think I better stop here. So one key challenge is predict what would be the project task coming out of the time and set up the timeline. And if the delay occurs, they increase the workforce. That's it. Thank you very much.
What is one role that a quantity surveyor does?
It gives the cost-wise of building project and initial estimate to finishing the final calculations and focused on providing value of money with obeying in the regulations. These roles of quantity surveyors include the roles inside the office, roles on the construction site, and roles in the meeting with clients.
What are some of the challenges you found while interviewing your quantity surveyor?
I think there are three key challenges that the quantity surveyor will face during their work. First kind is a large workload, because there are a large amount of workload that quantity surveyors have to do every day, such as preparing of contracts, including about quantity of required materials, the ongoing cost analysis of maintenance and repair work and preparing budgets. And the two kinds of the challenge is requirement from the contractors because there are a lot of requirements from the contractors. The quantity.
What are the solutions for these challenges?
I think to have a good sense of achievement in seeing a building through completion and broaden horizon and gain exposure through opportunities to manage projects overseas and improving skills and can be confident to solve them. A career in dynamic environment where learning never ends because the construction industry is very dynamic when you always learn and the fun never ends.
Hello, I'm Mohammed Al-Azmi. I had an interview with construction manager Adrian Kef, and I have asked him some questions. First question was, how do you make sure that you are complying with all the contractual and statutory requirements? Mr. Kef's answer was, in New Zealand building industry, you are not allowed to do any work without outside the building codes. So any work you do must get a building consent. So to build in New Zealand, you must apply to the council to get a building consent. First, you have to get the architecture's plan done to be stamped by the council in a building consent. And then the project can be started. For this reason, there is no way not to comply. You have to comply. However, if you don't comply, the council will stop the job and you may lose your LBP license and you cannot do any construction job. In doing all these construction jobs, meeting with the council is necessary. So the council will send you some engineers who will come to the site and check the work, sign some papers and stamp them to make sure that you are complying. The second question was, what are the challenges you face on a day-to-day basis and what are your solutions to them? The main challenge that the construction manager faces is doing a work which they cannot afford doing. To avoid this problem, just try to get the client to purchase the job's requirements before starting it. As it known that the construction works depends on expensive materials that must be purchased on client expense. And the second challenge is the staff, your worker, as you have to get them representable, for example wearing a hard hat and safety shoes, while some other of the staff, they bring their family issues to the work which will affect their mind and their work. To avoid this problem is just give them some warnings to improve themselves, and if they don't, then just fire them. The third challenge is to get a building consent out of the council. Council are quite busy with their with other projects which need to get a building consent, so it might take a long time to get a building consent from them. To solve this problem, just call them regularly every day just to get them along. And the fourth challenge is supplying of some materials such as joinery. Sometimes the measurements are wrong and you have to send them back again to the supplier to get a better one which will fit in the right place, and this will hold up the job a little bit. And the last challenge is not having a work to do. To solve this problem, just try to make a good reputation by doing good work and being nice to the client and give them a good advice, and also have a good relationship with the subcontractors because they are the industry that you are going to face on a daily basis. Thank you so much. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
I'd say one is facilitating communication between the various stakeholders. So the consultants would produce drawings, specifications, various reports. The information is then got to be passed on to the subcontractor. So we as the main contractor take overall responsibility for providing the finished product. Order of hierarchy, architect being the primary designer takes precedent. Civil, they've got to fit in all the services around the outside of the buildings. Hydraulics flows downhill, so they have to have their pipes in only certain places. Mechanical, they're big ducts, they're hard to fit in around all the other services, so they come next on the chain. Electrical, you can bend the cable just about around anywhere, so they're right down the bottom of the hierarchy. And landscape, we build this in landscaping, just makes it look pretty. So the scope is defined by the contract documents. Those documents often have gaps, and it's part of my role to identify those gaps. And we have to go through a formal process, sending out an RFI or a request for information to the consultant, asking them to answer the question or provide an answer for the gap, fill in the information. We're programming and coordinating subcontractors in a timely fashion so that they can get through the work and the quality can be at the required standard. Well, subcontractors, I guess. Every time they have an issue, it becomes our issue and we have to resolve it. If they're underperforming in terms of time, it's our issue and we have to push them to improve their performance or take steps to mitigate the impact that that's having on our main contract program. We can't allow their performance to cause us to fail in the delivery to our clients. Quality, it's an occupational hazard that you're focusing on what's not done or what's done wrong. So we have to always be working on improving the quality just to get across the line. That happens on every project, so you just accept it and you deal with the implication. They'll want to change, then they'll want it costed, and then they'll want you to do it, or not. But if they want you to do it, they take so much time deciding if they want to do it, and we don't stop. The building's being built. If you want to change something, you either change it early and it doesn't cost you money, or you change it late and it does cost you money. Every time they make a change, and even if it hasn't been formally instructed, it affects the flow of the work.